This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Okay, so it's day 12 of the Diddy trial, and they're going to bring that guy Nash back in. So they start off court today. It says Combs' lawyer says the articles in the scrapbook are not being offered for truth. The government says the articles that Combs wanted to get to the bottom of Biggie's murder, but the feds are investigating us. They've been trying to get this in. The judge says, if it went back into the jury room as evidence, it would be prejudicial to the prosecution. But to let all the jurors look at it as demonstrative. If they flip through it, it's okay. If they pass it around, we'd want limiting instruction, the government says. So then the judge says, who's going to be cross-examining Mia? Mr. Steele will be. Okay, so he comes forward and he's like, okay, so what if we redact the part about Biggie's murder? Steele says. And then judge says, it's more than that. You know, you can see these articles that aren't relevant to the case. It's that scrapbook that was put together. The judge says, you've been given some leeway. I'll leave it to you. Steele says, I don't want to waive the issue. Thank you. And then the judge says, the social media posts, there's an objection. I overrule it. The text messages, my sense is that parts of the threads are hearsay. Then the government says, they're trying just to show that the defendant was going through some heavy stuff. Remember Diddy said, I'm going through some heavy stuff, guys. That's why I kicked her in the face. I mean, that's nuts, bro. The judge says, what about her smelling her own armpits? What? I don't think that's relevant. And the judge says, okay, 401. Government says, at 8:55 a.m., the defense sent me a slew of messages about Deontay Nash. They should be excluded. Because the defense is, a lot of stuff is getting thrown out. The judge says, Mr. Donaldson, which is Combs' lawyer, what are these? Combs' lawyer says, we want 2 photos and the rest are for impeachment. Government says, I was told the photos of these photos last night. Fine. Then the judge says, bring Mr. Nash back in, and then our jury. So basically the defense prolonged their cross yesterday so they could prepare a little bit last night to try to cross again today. So the Nash is brought in, who's the stylist, and Diddy's lawyer will be crossing. So, how are you? Nash says, blessed. Then Diddy's lawyer says, text from you in this exhibit. He says, what was Capricorn Clark's role in 2011, the mixtape? Nash says, she was gone. Diddy's lawyer says, what did she work on when she was there? He said, maybe like a photo shoot. You know, you guys showed yesterday. I learned a lot from Capricorn, actually. Then Combs' lawyer says, do you recall this picture of Cassie with green hair? Nash says, yeah, that was a group idea. I walked the carpet with Cassie in New York at the VMAs. It was a curated look. Then Combs says, did you get approval? He says, yes, from Puff. He says, you say Mr. Combs was kicking Cassie on the ground, the unfortunate eye gash incident, correct? He says, yes. And they say, you didn't tell the prosecutor she was kicked while bleeding? What? And he says, and then Nash says, they didn't ask. I only answered what they asked. Combs' lawyer says, you know Cassie was in a relationship with Kid Cudi while she was in a relationship with Mr. Combs? Nash says, okay. And then Combs says, you didn't know? And Nash says, I thought she and Puff had broken up. Then Combs' lawyer says, Cassie was in South Africa. You were at the Revolt conference in Miami, correct? Nash says, yes. I was there to style Little Kim. Then Combs says, so you, and then Nash says, yes, I put it together with Michael B. Jordan. I meant, he fine, why not? They're both fine. And then judge says, hold on. And then Combs' lawyer says, so Gina was in Miami too? Nash says, no, you put that on me. They kept me away from seeing Gina. Combs' lawyer says, Cassie got upset? Nash says, she says, why does she always keep humiliating me in my career? Combs, was she upset? Nash, not really. You set her up with Michael B. Jordan, Combs' lawyer says. Yes, and Mia drove it home, making sure she had his number. Then Combs' lawyer says, so a bad boy employee set her up with Michael B. Jordan. Nash says, that's Michael B. Jordan. Don't mess that up. Oh, okay. And then Combs' lawyer says, do you know Andre Branch? Nash says, no. Combs' lawyer says, you were aware Cassie was in a relationship with Andre Branch? Nash says, oh, the cute football player? Yes, but I never met him. Then Combs' lawyer says, in 2016 with Brandon of the NFL, I mean NBA, sorry. And Diddy says, Diddy's lawyer says, these texts, you were talk with Cassie about Michael B. Jordan. You say, no one's better. No one's better. Don't say ish to me. And Nash says, love you, or maybe it's a typo. You know everything. I don't remember. You know, that the ly at the end of that sentence is like love you or something. I'm sure we had some little cute thing we did back then. Basically, that's what he's saying. Then Combs' lawyer says, Cassie was upset by Gina. Nash says, she'd say, girl, let's go out and do our thing. Do what you want to do. Actually, we were both pretty chill. We stayed in the house a lot, but that would be fair. Let's read these text messages. You do the blue. And then Nash says, oh, okay. Oh, you got some names in here. Just do it. Nash says, where you going? Secret trip out of town. Nash says, girl. Good friends don't pry. That's not my method. I just replied, girl. And then highlight green part. Cassie is telling you October 30th, 2013, after the incident with a cut on the face. She says, I've already been turning up too much. You say you saw her with a black eye on FaceTime around the time of the Intercontinental? I saw it in person. When her makeup would wear off, you could see it. Judge says, let Mr. Donaldson ask the questions. I don't see what they're getting at with all this. They've already kind of proven everything yesterday. Then it says, you read these after Cassie says, this end is wasted. We both did the same. Nash says, is there a lot of people there? Oh, it's talking about Gwen Stefani song. He says, take your broke ass home in the ride into the sunset. And we did. Did she mention to you about having threesomes with other men? Nash says, nah, she didn't tell me. Combs says, Mr. Nash, read that to yourself, then lift up. On May 10th, 2025, you told the government the videos came from her phone. Nash says, no, I told them that he would tape her on the phone. Then Diddy's lawyer says, isn't it true? She said the videos were from her phone. Nash says, he would record her on her phone. I stand firm on that. Diddy's lawyer says, you say Mr. Combs said, you won't do this one thing for me? Yes. You said you saw Mr. Combs pointing in Cassie's face in Blid Dragon, right? But you never told the government, right? The first you said is, the first you told anybody was at a trial. Nash says, I guess so. I gave them a little by phone. She said she didn't want to go. You helped pick her clothes for court? She couldn't fit anything. She needs clothes. For the pregnancy? Right. On that Friday after she finished, she called you and said, I'm done. It was just like it wasn't like that. Then it says, did you get Cassie super high? What? No, I did not. Mr. Nash, this 29th birthday, you say she packed her sex toys in a duffel bag for her bedroom, right? Correct. Mr. Combs didn't say grab the sex toys? They were going. Combs' lawyer says, on the golf cart, let's talk about Vegas, New Year's, 2016-17. You said you were told Cassie was sleeping all day. Correct. Put up DX 1847 for the parties only. What is this? Cassie. The low-budget producer you mentioned was there. Yes. Right next to me, snoring. You say Cassie told you another man was coming over and you asked to leave? Both of us. Your reaction was yes. You saw a man walking around knocking on the door and letting them in? Yes. There were not drugs, right? We were doing them in separate places. Once it started working, I just started going. I was packing my 10 body bags. Okay. Then they went into the hotel again. She didn't tell you she wanted to go, correct? Actually, she said she wanted to stay home, work on her music. Read the green. Enjoy all the time together. Y'all don't get much of this. All right, so basically, I guess they're saying Diddy and her only spent time. I guess they're trying to establish that Diddy and her only spent time together when it was about a freak off, I guess. That's you telling Cassie in January 2017 to enjoy your time with Puff, correct? Nash says yes. Cassie wrote, I spoke up for myself, and you wrote, you wish you were with them on vacation. No, I meant in Mexico, not with them. Cassie wrote, the next room is on the beach. This one is on a golf course. I have everything organized. Nash said, I wrote, LOL. Do you all have a lot of stuff? He says, yes, but we made it all fit. Nash says, girl, you always on vacation. You stayed in touch with Mr. Combs? Nash says, yeah, because he was cutting up. Oh, I get it. You did a seafood thing with Cassie. Correct. DX 1814. You know Kim Porter, who tragically passed? Yes. You knew Andre Harrell passed? Yes. You texted Mr. Combs to make sure he was okay? Correct. Mr. Combs wrote to you, the trainer. Question mark? You could have given me a heads up. Black heart emoji. How is she? He meant Cassie. Yes. Oh, so okay. So in 2020, you wrote to Mr. Combs, I love you. I love you. Anything you need, I got you. Yes. Why would they say that? And then Mr. Combs won an award that year, and you congratulated him? I don't think so. I asked to RSVP to his party for someone else, Claire Summers. Cassie told you about a secret trip. Then they object. The government objects, just sustains it. You deeply care for Cassie for 15 years? Nash says yes. She kept secrets from you, and I do from her. We don't have to tell each other everything. Then the Diddy's lawyer says nothing further. The judge redirect. Then the government comes in. Why were you afraid of her? Things could get violent fast. What devices did Mr. Combs use to film her? Hers. You said they appeared high at their 29th birthday party? Nash says yes. Government says, was Mr. Combs in control of his actions? Nash says yes. Government, and what did you say? You're going to get some D tonight. Government says, did she want to go? Nash says no. Government says no further questions. Nothing from me. Mr. Nash, you are excused. Okay, that's it. The next witness will use a pseudonym. There will be no recording. Witness comes in. They're not recording anything anyways, right? How do you wish to be identified? They said, Mia. You know, who is this? They're going to use a pseudonym. Well, I'm sure it'll be pretty obvious who this is. Don't show this exhibit. What it is it? And then Mia says, it's my passport. Show it to the jury only. Brian says, I would like to see it too. Is this Lauren London? Like, is it? Like, because I'm starting to think, like, Brian Steele's coming in mainly for, like, big names. Let's see what this is. Okay, so where are you from? Virginia Beach, Virginia. Okay, so it's definitely not. It's definitely not Laura London. Who is this? Sean Combs. What did you call him? Puff. I work for him as a personal assistant. Mia then as a director of development and acquisitions for Revolt Films. How was it working there? Puff's mood changed all the time. Was he violent to you? Yes. He throw things at me. He's thrown me against a wall, into a pool, ice bucket on my head, slammed my arms into a door, and he sexually assaulted me. Whoa. Sexually assaulted you more than once? Yes, more than once. Did you want to be in the arts? Mia says, yes. Before social media, I thought I put my mattress on my car and I drove to... You put your mattress on your car, drove to New York. Then you went to work for Georgiana Chapman, red carpet dressing. Then assistant to Mike Myers. Okay. So this is how Mike Myers comes into it. Then it says, how did Mr. Combs hire you? I met with a recruiter. I met with the HR and Tony Baez Fletcher. Did Mr. Combs interview you? He did at an apartment. He was on the phone wearing his underwear. The HR lady left. Obviously, yeah, right? The government says, did he put on clothes? Yes. Did you get the job? Yes, I was excited. Government, how much did you expect to make? Oh, how much did you expect to work? Sorry. A lot, but I didn't fully understand. How much were you paid? $50,000. What did you do your first day? HR told me I was on trial for 2 weeks. Where did you start? His Alpine, New Jersey house. I was there all day. Then where? Back to the office for a few hours more. Then I was told Puff wanted me to come to the studio. How long were you there? Until 1 p.m. the next day. Then where'd you go? Puff's apartment, then home. How fast did you have to return? I didn't take a nap. I didn't want to risk it. How much time did you sleep the first 24 hours on the job? I didn't. I took it as a challenge. Jeez. There had been a TV show a few years before called I Want to Work for Diddy. It was like that. How did you deal with the lack of sleep? When I was young, I'd tell myself, you can sleep at 3 p.m. When I was young, I told myself, you can sleep at 3 p.m. Still, objection, overruled. How long did you stay up once? 5 days. I took Adderall extended release. I could quasi-function and stay awake. When did you go to sleep? My hearing went, and my equilibrium was off. Blurred vision. Lights were there. I cried. For $50,000? You could have worked a job at anywhere, and got 50 grand. Like, you could have worked 2 jobs. It would have been better than working for Diddy. Then this is, let's see. Were you then told you could sleep? Yes. By whom? Puff. But why are these people up? And Diddy sleeps too, you know. I guess they have to prepare things for Diddy while he's sleeping. Why did you sleep? Why did you stay awake that long? I was working. I'm going to introduce exhibits. Okay, then it's a long process setting up the exhibits. These exhibits are under seal. Steele says, we renew our objection. Admitted under seal. Mia says, what is this? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Government says, Mia, what is this? A list of responsibilities. I sent to Tony Baez Fletcher on November 10th, 2011. Puff has said, I don't know what you do all day. Government says, let's focus on a few things in the document. Please read this, Mia. All of the PD's social media presence. Who is PD? Sean Combs, Puff Daddy. I wrote main liaison between PD and Hollywood. Did you do that? BlackBerry 24/7. I wrote anticipate his moods. Why was that important? It dictated the day. Government. You wrote every day is different. And that he could ask you to crack his knuckles or do his taxes. What? He's having his assistants do his taxes. Did you have an apartment? Yes, in New York City. Were you there much? No, my roommates joked that they live with a ghost. In L.A., where'd you stay? In the staff house, then Puff's house. 9933 Beverly Grove, then 9374 Beverly Crest Drive, then 200 South Mapleton. In Miami, 2-star. Could you leave? Only with Puff's permission. Once I left at 2 a.m. after he was asleep, I got in big trouble. What happened? Security called me to say he was sending them to find me. It was at the first LA house, 2009 or 2010. Were you allowed to lock your bedroom door? No. He says, it's my house. No one locks doors in this house. So it wasn't really my room. Did security get to lock their doors? Yes. One had a deadbolt. The other had a keypad. I was told they were actively hiring other assistants. How long? This is funny because it's like Diddy was just obsessed with controlling people. He was going to hire more assistants. I mean, how many assistants do you need? Yo, how long to Malcolm, the assistant, was there when you started to stay? Okay, so how long to Malcolm, the assistant who was there when you started? How long did he stay? 7 or 8 months. Were you the only one then? Yeah, for like a year. How did you feel? I don't have time to feel. It was insane. Like, Puff gave me a pep talk like, we're a team. He said, I need a second brain. You know what's funny about this? She's getting 50 grand. Puff's making millions, right? So, like, you can't even make 100 grand? And here's the funny thing. He's using that tactic. If you guys ever work, like, have you ever seen, like, a regular jobs pet talks? Like, they'll be like, we're family. It's a family here. When all you're doing is you're getting a paycheck there. It's not family when you go to work. Unless you guys are starting a business together and you all have equity in it. That's the only time it's family-like. But never let someone tell you, yo, this is a family here at Amazon or mattress firm, wherever you're working. Never let them tell you that. It's gross. It's really just my manipulation. Then they say, yes, eventually. Did he hire more? Yes, eventually, but I still felt like I was the most responsible. Government says, did you get punished? In various ways, getting cursed out. My intelligence insulted, and my job was threatened. Who did those things? Puff. Who's this? George Kaplan. He's another personal assistant for Puff after me. What was Revolt Films? Puff and I started it together. Revolt was the most trash thing Puff's ever started. Were you still performing at personal assistant duties? Yes. How much did you get paid? $70,000, then $100,000. There were supposed to be bonuses. Did you get them? No. Then they break. We'll pick it up from there. Revolt TV was trash. And I often thought around that time when he started it, I was thinking of, because I had World Star with Q, but I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to move on. Get rid of my stake and then go over here. I'm glad I never did that. Because I was like, damn, he's Diddy. He can get anyone to do anything. Like, I could have used his name if I had part of ownership in that, and then I could have made so many shows. I had ideas, but then I'm glad I never did that because I would have ended up getting beaten down by Puff and his bodyguards. Anyways, this is Jordan Tower with JT News. I'll check you guys later. Peace.